Hello friends and welcome to Parks Crafty Creations. I'm your host Brian Parks. If you've been thinking about starting to sell at craft fairs, vendor markets, or handmade shows, today's project is one you're absolutely going to want to add to your table. They're quick to make, inexpensive to produce, and customers love that they're practical, giftable, and easy to use. Let's dive into making the ever-popular microwave potato bag. Before we jump in, if you enjoy this content, be sure to give us a like down below, as it really does help out the channel. Do it now please, and if you're new to our channel, don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell icon so you'll always be notified whenever a new video drops. And hey, if you love what we do here, don't forget to share us with your friends. Now that the housekeeping is out of the way, let's jump in. I've sold these year after year at various vendor fairs, and they are always one of the first items people pick up and ask about. If you love the taste of a baked potato, but don't want to wait for the oven to heat up, this little bag is a game changer. All you need to do is wash your potato, wrap it in a paper towel, place it inside the bag, and microwave it for 4 to 8 minutes. You end up with a perfectly baked potato every single time. I'll walk you through the materials you need, how to cut everything out, how to assemble the bag, and a few optional details that can really elevate the finished project, especially if you plan to sell these. Before we start sewing, let's talk about the materials that you'll need. This is a project where material choice really matters, because this is a bag that's going to be used in the microwave. Because of this, everything that we make the bag out of has to be 100% cotton. Everything from the batting and fabric, right down to the thread. Yes, even the thread. We use cotton because this is a cooking project, and cotton is microwavable safe. You do not, and I cannot stress this enough, you do not want to use polyester batting, as it can and will catch fire in the microwave, and we absolutely don't want that. For the lining fabric, I'm using muslin today, which is inexpensive and works perfectly for this purpose. For the exterior fabric, you can use any 100% cotton print that you like. This is where you can really have fun with seasonal fabrics or novelty prints, especially if you're making these for craft fairs. Both your lining fabric and your exterior fabric will be cut to 22 inches by 12 inches. If you would like to add a hanging loop to your potato bag, which I highly recommend for selling purposes, you'll need an additional piece of fabric cut to approximately 8 inches by 4 inches. Now, let's touch on the batting. I'm using a popular brand called Wrap and Zap. It's been specially made specifically for projects such as potato bags, where the batting will be an integral part of the cooking process. You can find Wrap and Zap at most major retailers online or at your local sewing shop. We're also going to cut the batting to 22 inches by 12 inches, just like our fabric. At this point, you should have 2 pieces of fabric and 1 piece of batting, all cut to the same size. If you're adding the optional hanging loop, now is also a good time to cut that piece, which again was 8 inches by 4 inches. This doesn't have to be exact, but keeping it close to this size works well for a standard cabinet knob or hook. Now, we're ready to start assembling the potato bag. Begin by placing 1 piece of batting down on your work surface. On top of that, place your exterior fabric right side up. We're going to add a couple of lines of zigzag stitches along these 2 pieces to secure them together so the batting can't shift around inside. I've seen a lot of different ways to make these, but this is a commonly overlooked step in the process. But there's a reason for it. Because these bags will be in constant contact with food, it's very important to keep them clean, which means they're going to be hitting the washing machine a lot. While in the wash, this batting over time will deteriorate and tear because of the loose weaving it's made up of. These lines of zigzag stitches will help keep the batting from shifting around too much in your bag and help extend the life of the batting, and in turn, help extend the life of the bag. Once we've pinned our outer fabric to our batting, we can fold the fabric in half and give it a quick press to get our center line. I run a line of tailor's chalk down the fold so I can see the line I need to follow a little easier. I'll do the same thing 2 more times for each side of that fold. So I have 2 more lines centered between that center line and the edge of the bag. We should now have 3 chalk lines running long ways down the fabric. Now, let's take it to our sewing machine and run a line of zigzag stitches down those 3 lines. These lines also give the bag an interesting texture as it makes those lines stand out a bit. Don't forget to use 100% cotton thread for these as well. Any polyester on this project can and will ignite in the microwave. So it's important to stay on your toes and don't let any polyester thread slip into the project. Now that we have our batting thoroughly attached to our outer fabric, we'll layer our lining fabric with the right sides together. If you're using muslin, the right side may not be very obvious, but it's still good practice to be consistent. This creates a sandwich with the batting on the bottom, the exterior fabric in the middle, and the lining fabric on top. Once everything is aligned, pin or clip along the edges to keep the layers from shifting while you sew. We're now going to sew around the edge of the bag using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Make sure to leave an opening on one of the short ends. This is where we'll be turning our bag right side out. As you stitch around, make sure you catch all 3 layers of the fabric and batting. Once our bag is stitched all the way around, we'll trim the corners to reduce bulk. Then, using a chopstick or a turning tool, turn it right sides out through the hole that we left open on one side of the short edges, so our batting is encased inside. This is a perfect opportunity to give our bag a quick press to make sure the edges and the corners are nice and crisp. This will also press the edge of our opening inside to give us a completely clean edge that we can top stitch closed. Now, let's make the hanging loop. Take the loop fabric and fold it lengthwise. Give it a quick press. Then open it back up and fold the edges to the center fold and press again. Now, with those edges folded into the center, fold your fabric closed and stitch the two edges. To attach the loop and close the bag, fold the long end up to about 2.5 inches from the other short end of the bag. Then, fold the remaining end over it. The layers should overlap by about 2.5 inches. This creates the pocket shape of the potato bag. Pin everything in place. Next, measure down approximately 3 inches from one short end of the bag. Fold the loop in half and place it at that 3-inch mark, with the raw edges inside the bag about 1/2 inch, making sure the loop is secured inside the fold and pointing outward. Now we're ready to finish the bag. Sew down both short sides using about 1/4 inch seam allowance, stitching through all of the layers. This will secure the folds and fully close the bag. And there it is, the finished microwave potato bag. You can hang it on a kitchen cabinet knob or a hook using the loop, which is a feature customers really appreciate. To use the bag, simply wash your potato, dry it, don't puncture it, wrap it in a paper towel, and place it inside the bag. Microwave it for about 4 to 8 minutes, depending on the size of the potato. I like to microwave mine in 2-minute increments, and you'll have a perfectly baked potato every time. This is a fantastic, beginner-friendly project, and it's also an excellent batch sewing item if you're making inventory for craft fairs or gifts. Before we wrap up, I want to share a few quick tips specifically for those of you who plan to sell these at craft fairs, vendor markets, or handmade shows, because this project really shines in that environment. First, let's talk about pricing. Microwave potato bags typically sell very well in the $8 to $15 range, depending on your market, your fabric choices, and your overall presentation. Seasonal fabrics, coordinated collections, or even simple bundles with recipe cards can often command a slightly higher price. I recommend testing pricing at your local events and paying attention to what customers respond to, and especially what they ask you for. But whatever you do, don't undervalue your time. These are fast to make, but they're also incredibly useful, and customers absolutely recognize that value. Now, let's talk about batching, because this is where potato bags really become profitable. If you've never had to make a large quantity of the same item before, batching might be a new concept for you. Instead of making these one at a time from start to finish, you'll save a significant amount of time by batching each step. Cut all of your fabric first, then cut all of your batting. Next, stitch all of your zigzag lines to secure the batting, and then move on to the assembly of the bags in groups. Batching like this keeps your workflow efficient and makes a huge difference when you're building inventory for a show. Remember, time is money, and that clock is always running fast. Finally, don't underestimate the power of fabric choices. Food-themed prints, neutral kitchen colors, and seasonal designs consistently perform well. Offering a small, curated variety without overwhelming your table is usually the sweet spot. You can also keep some designs behind the table if things start to feel crowded. Talk to your customers. If they're looking for a specific season or a design, make a note of it. And if you don't have what they're looking for at that moment, that's valuable information for future shows. If one person asks for it, chances are someone else will too. These little details can make a big difference, and they turn a simple sewing project into a strong, reliable craft fair product. Alright, let's wrap this up. No pun intended. I hope you enjoyed sewing along with me today. If you have questions, leave them in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. This really goes a long way to telling the YouTube algorithm to show this video to other viewers who might find it helpful, like you. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell icon so you'll never miss out whenever a new video drops. Thank you so much for joining me today. I've been Brian Parks for Parks Crafty Creations. Happy sewing, and we'll see you next time.